They shot her tactical vest at close range and left her in a burned-out farmhouse, calling it confirmed over the radio. But the thing about underestimating a Navy SEAL isn't the round you fire. It's the mistake you make when you assume she's actually down. Before we show you how Lieutenant Commander Kate Cross turned their ambush into her intelligence operation, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because this story doesn't end with a casualty report. It ends with a woman who proved that the deadliest weapon in combat isn't always the one you can see. Lieutenant Commander Kate Cross didn't trust the air. Too calm, too rehearsed. The NATO convoy wound through the Carpathian Ridge, a stretch of Eastern European territory that had changed hands more times than anyone could count. Officially, it was a routine joint patrol. Unofficially, Kate had walked through active minefields that felt safer. She stood beside the lead MRAP, scanning the ridgeline with tactical precision. Her team was solid: 8 SEALs, 3 Polish Grom operators, and a handful of local contractors whose gear looked too new for comfort. Chief Mason appeared at her shoulder. Still worried about the contractors? Kate's voice stayed even. Their equipment's too clean. One of them called a magazine a clip. Mason almost smiled. You always this paranoid? Paranoia is just pattern recognition with better instincts. One of the contractors approached. Tall, sharp haircut, East Coast accent. He carried himself like former military, but something felt staged. Ma'am, drones are airborne, full satellite uplink, he said. Kate studied him. Name? Reed. You've run this route before. Twice, smooth both times. Kate tilted her head slightly. Funny, that's not what Intel reported. Reed shrugged. Then maybe Intel's wrong. She didn't answer, just let the silence stretch until Mason cut in. Ma'am, we're moving. Kate scanned the landscape one last time. Ridges, abandoned farmhouses, bends in the road that felt like staging points. Yeah, mount up. The vehicles moved in formation, stretching too thin across open terrain. Kate settled into the lead MRAP, her fingers tapping the dash, not from nerves, but calibration, counting distances, marking cover points. Mason leaned closer. You think it's a setup? I think nobody needs to fake a war out here, but if it goes loud, we don't wait for orders. The convoy crept forward. Behind them, Reed's drone hummed overhead. Ahead, the stillness held its breath. And somewhere deep in Kate Cross's chest, instinct tapped out Morse code warnings she'd never learned to ignore. The explosion came without ceremony. The lead vehicle ahead vanished in a bloom of fire and twisted steel. The shockwave slammed into Kate's MRAP hard enough to crack her spine against the seat. IED! Contact front! Mason's voice roared. Gunfire erupted from the ridgeline, not wild spray, but controlled, coordinated bursts. Professional, rehearsed. Ambush left, ambush right, Mason shouted, yanking the gunner into position. Kate caught sight of the contractors, 3 of them backing away from the fight. One dropped his rifle. Another spoke rapidly into a radio she didn't recognize. Mason, eyes on those contractors. Copy. Then the round hit. A sharp crack, followed by impact that knocked the air from her lungs. The round smashed into her plate carrier and drove deep enough to crack ceramic. The world tilted. Kate's vision blurred. Commander down! Commander down! Mason's voice cut through the chaos. Kate fell against the wheel well, chest screaming, lungs burning, but her mind stayed ice-cold and clear. She'd taken worse hits in training. The vest had held. Ribs cracked maybe, bruised sternum definitely, but alive. And that meant the mission wasn't over. Kate let her body go limp. She slowed her breathing to almost nothing, blood smearing her collar from a split lip where her face had hit metal. Through half-closed eyes, she watched boots approach. 2 sets, cautious but confident. Primary target neutralized, one said into his radio. Another voice crackled back. Copy. Secure her gear. We'll stage the scene after. They rolled her slightly, tugging at her vest straps. Every instinct screamed to fight, to grab his throat, to end him. But Kate was trained for this exact moment at SERE school years ago. If captured, make them think you're weaker than you are. So she stayed still, stayed silent. Let them think the round had done its job. The boots moved away, crunching gravel as they carried wounded SEALs toward covered positions. Kate's eyes cracked open just enough to see Mason pinned down, returning fire, trying to hold the line. She counted heartbeats, slowed her pulse, and began planning her next move. Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 6 years earlier. Kate's hands were bound behind her back, cold mud soaking through her fatigues. The instructor circled her like a predator. "You've been captured. What do you do?" Young Kate didn't answer immediately. She studied his movement, his posture, the way he expected fear. "I make them think they've won," she finally said. The instructor nodded. "Control the information, control your breath, make them underestimate you." He leaned closer. "Remember this, Cross, your greatest weapon isn't your rifle. It's their assumption that you're finished." Kate never forgot. And now, lying in the dirt with cracked ribs and enemy boots scraping nearby, she understood exactly what he'd meant. They hauled her like cargo, one man on each arm, boots dragging through gravel and dirt toward a burned-out farmhouse overlooking the ambush. "She's lighter than I expected," one muttered. "Special forces types are overrated. They break like everyone else." Kate kept her body slack, but her mind was recording everything. Voices, accents, radio chatter. She counted steps, memorized the layout. They dumped her onto broken floorboards inside the burned-out farmhouse. Charred rafters hung overhead. Dust clung to cracked stone walls. "Let her sit," one said. "We'll take photographs of the scene once she's gone." A camera clicked, commercial grade, not military issue. Kate cracked one eye open and saw the lens aimed at her vest, at her badge, at her face. "They'll believe she died on impact," the first voice said. "Chest wound, clean narrative." "Except she doesn't look dead," a new voice said from the doorway. "Reed." Reed's brutes approached slowly, deliberately. "You already got the pictures," one contractor said. "What more do you need?" "Intel said she might have seen something before the ambush," Reed replied. Kate's heart stayed steady, but her mind raced. They hadn't come just to kill. They'd come to erase. "Was she carrying anything?" Reed asked. "Radio, sidearm, we dumped it. Any footage?" "No body cam." Reed clicked his tongue, disappointed. "We needed her gone quietly. Now we have to stage the whole scene." He knelt beside her, close enough that she could smell coffee and cigarette smoke. "She was the only one tracking the arms shipments," he said quietly, almost regretfully. "If she went down, the mission went down with her." Kate forced her face to stay slack, even as the pieces fell into place. This wasn't battlefield chaos. This was a calculated hit. Someone didn't want her reporting what she'd found. Reed stood. "Finish it. Burn the place." Footsteps receded. Kate waited. 10 seconds. 20. Then she moved. Her hand slid across broken floorboards until she found it, a tactical radio, left carelessly by one of the contractors who'd searched her gear. She powered it on, keeping the volume low, and cycled through frequencies until she found their command channel. Voices crackled through. "Status on primary target." "Confirmed. Cross is down." Kate's lips curled into something cold and deliberate. She keyed the mic. "This is Commander Cross," she said, voice steady and clear. "You shot my vest. You should have checked my pulse." Dead silence. Then panic. "She's alive. How is she alive? Sweep the farmhouse. Move now." Kate tossed the radio aside and moved to the shadows, pulling a sidearm from the first dead contractor's holster. Let them come. She didn't wait for them to find her. She found their frequency again and started talking. "Reed," she said calmly, "I know you worked with Volkov Logistics. I know about the Gdansk shipment. And I know you've been selling NATO convoy routes for 6 months."
Silence on the other end. Then Reed's voice, tight with tension. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Kate replied. "Because I've been recording encrypted channels for 3 weeks. Every transaction, every name. It's all backed up to a satellite server you'll never find." Another long pause. "You're lying." Kate smiled in the darkness. "Then come find out." She could hear them now. Boots outside, voices arguing, someone losing control. Anger makes people sloppy. A voice cut through the radio, calm and measured, not panicked like the others. "Commander Cross," the voice said in lightly accented English. "I'm Victor Koss, Finnish Special Forces, retired, and I don't miss." Kate didn't answer immediately. She moved to the side window, using a shard of broken glass as a mirror. Movement on the northern ridge, 200 meters out, suppressed barrel, professional positioning. She keyed the mic. "Victor," she said in fluent Finnish, "I know you graduated Uti Jäger Regiment in 2011. I know you worked Helmand Province, and I know your sister still lives in Turku." The silence stretched longer this time. When Victor finally spoke, his voice had lost its confidence. "How do you—" "Because we've been watching you for 8 months, Kate said coldly. "You think you're hunting me? I've had a file on you since January." Another pause. Then the sound of movement, boots retreating quickly through underbrush. Victor Koss was gone. The Black Hawk came in low and fast, rotors slicing through dawn mist. Kate stood in the clearing, vest torn open, covered in dust and dried blood, but upright. Chief Mason was the first off, stopping dead when he saw her. "Jesus Christ." "I'm fine," Kate said. She handed him a tactical tablet, encrypted, filled with logs, coordinates, financial transactions, and voice recordings. "The contractors sold us out," she said. "Someone paid them to stage the ambush and eliminate anyone tracking the arms shipment." Mason stared at the tablet, then at her. "They shot you point blank." Kate glanced down at her cracked vest, at the shattered ceramic plate that had saved her life. "They shot the vest," she corrected. "They forgot to confirm the kill." 6 months later, a UN tribunal in Brussels. Kate Cross sat at the witness stand in full dress uniform, calm and composed. Across the room, Reed and 5 other contractors sat in restraints, faces blank. The prosecutor held up the tablet Kate had recovered. "Commander Cross, can you confirm this evidence led to the arrest of 12 individuals involved in illegal arms trafficking?" "Yes, sir." "And you obtained this intelligence while wounded and presumed dead?" Kate met Reed's eyes across the courtroom. "I wasn't presumed dead, sir. I let them think I was." The gavel fell. Guilty verdicts, all counts. As Kate walked out of the courthouse, Mason fell into step beside her. "You know what they're calling you now?" Kate didn't answer. "Iron Cross." She almost smiled. Better than the alternative. Mason nodded. "What's the alternative?" Kate glanced back at the courthouse one last time. Being underestimated. "Could you stay calm enough to turn an ambush into an intelligence operation like Kate did? Would you have the presence of mind to use their own communications against them while wounded? Tell us in the comments. If this story reminded you that the sharpest weapon isn't always visible, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Share this with someone who needs to remember that being underestimated is sometimes the greatest tactical advantage. Your next mission is already waiting. Watch one of the videos on your screen now.